Good Friday, everyone. This is Lee, and this is also Blue.Green.Fusion, blue-collar jobs for a green economy. And most of the shows that I've done dealt with either transportation or energy as part of the green economy, and then also infrastructure. Today's show deals more with food policy, which is very important in Des Moines and Iowa. So food policy, including the food desert, and then also urban gardening. What I did want to note that a lot of things happen in Des Moines, and not just because of the elections that we have coming up. There are so many policy issues, including sustainable agriculture, ethanol, biodiesel, biomass, stormwater management, soil erosion, and all of these things are somewhat related to food policy. But I'm going to tighten the focus on urban gardening and food desert because those other issues actually deserve their own full hour show, very deep. I'm going to start off with a few announcements dealing with food from City View, which is the local weekly alternative paper that we have here in town. And they have from Victory Gardens to Community Gardens, and that's Dr. Amalia Malaya of Drake University. She's going to examine the legacy of the World War II Victory Garden phenomenon at Fort Des Moines Museum at 75 East Army Post Road, and the number is 282-8060. And you can go to the website, fortdesmoines.org, and it's free, and it's tomorrow, although I don't know what time. But if you go to that website or call the number, they'll probably give you the time of that workshop. And then we also have something that's just really terrific in Des Moines. It's amazing to me to see. It's the weekly phenomenon known as our Des Moines Farmers Market. And there's several in the city, but the one that's downtown is just fabulous. It's just like a Mardi Gras every Saturday morning. Down on Court Avenue, that area. And then also when the weather turns a little bit colder, they move it to Capitol Square. But there's so many vendors and so many people. It's just packed down there every weekend. And you can find just about everything you ever wanted, vegetable, sometimes animal, mineral. It's usually there. It's just great. So that's two announcements. The other one, I'm going to put on the yellow camera and bring it down a little bit. This is Citizen Transportation Congress to be held November 9th, 2010. And bring it back to me. And this is for the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Des Moines. They're promoting their awareness of that organization and what they do, their projects and their initiatives, and also giving status reports on certain transportation issues like passenger rail and then sustainability related to that. And likely the new transit hub will come up at that meeting. And so there's two sessions, one at the Central Library at noon, and then the other's at Mercy Medical Center's East Tower Conference Room, and that's on 1111 6th Avenue. But anyway, you can visit www.dmampo.org or call 515-334-0075 to get more information on that meeting as well. But lots going on and lots to keep track of, but that's a good thing. We want things happening. We don't want to stand still. We want to keep moving forward. I'm going to go through some headlines because, again, our news has been chock full of not only renewable policy, but agriculture, bioethanol policy, and then policy positions from election standpoint, too. And so let's go ahead and get started. This is from the New York Times, and this is Thursday, October 28th issue, and they're saying, remember renewable energy, and I guess they want to remind us or make sure we don't forget or someone doesn't forget. It's an editorial from the opinion page, and it says, But this country had already fallen behind the United States, behind Europe and China, which are investing heavily in the industries that manufacture wind turbines and solar panels. Three things need to happen quickly if there is any hope for us to catch up. And they list those as generous subsidies by the government, and then faster approvals by the Interior Department, for instance, the Cape Wind Project off Massachusetts, and things like that. And then also transmission, which is something that I explored, and I believe it was the Green New Deal episode 5, where they discuss updating and expanding the electrical grid to accommodate new sources of energy like solar and wind and hydroelectric. And they even mentioned Google, which we discussed, buying into wind power, and also the jobs that updating the electrical grid could create. So lots of interesting issues related to renewable. There's also another article that I found. This is from the Washington Post, and it's Big Oil versus Green Tech in California, which is very intriguing. They're pretty much saying that the result, let's start from the beginning. Mixed together a couple of big oil refiners, an arch-conservative oil tycoon, green tech venture capitalist, a former Secretary of State, and California's far-reaching climate legislation, and stir. The result is one of the most volatile and expensive political battles of the year. The issue is Proposition 23, a California referendum that would shelve the state's 4-year-old climate legislation until the state's unemployment rate falls to 5.5%, which is more than half the current levels. And then economists agree that that could take years, and the delay would upend myriad solar power, wind power, and low-emission automobile projects. And so that's where renewable energy comes up against jobs, but not in a complementary fashion. Apparently with this issue, they're head-to-head, where it's either one or the other, but not both, which is unfortunate, because I do think those two issues do go hand in hand, but I guess it does depend on who's deciding the policy. It always does come down to economic policy. Let's see. We have another article, and this is coming from the New York Times, the Wednesday, October 27th issue, and it's Massey Energy post loss despite higher coal sales. And you kind of wonder how that happens, but they say that the embattled coal producer Massey Energy reported a bigger than expected loss for the third quarter on Tuesday despite increasing coal sales. The company, based in Richmond, Virginia, largely blamed federal regulators for its shortfall. Massey has faced heavy scrutiny from regulators, prosecutors, and Congress since April, when an explosion in its Upper Big Branch coal mine in West Virginia killed 29 miners. It was the largest death toll in an American coal mine accident in 40 years, and regulators subsequently raised safety concerns at that mine and other Massey operations. And then in another part it says, as the largest miner in Central Appalachia and the fourth largest coal producer in the country, Massey may be better positioned to prosper with a new management that can mend relations with its primary regulator, some Wall Street analysts have said. So it looks like there's just this tug of war with old energy or fossil traditional energy versus new energy. And I think like between things like the coal mine explosion and then the oil spills in the Gulf, and more awareness of the detriment of fossil fuels that comes to the fore, I think the tug of war might continue, but at least more people are paying attention to all sides of the issue.